Hello, BookTube, and Merry Christmas to all of you. I had a mail haul for you yesterday, a brief thing, just a few packages, and the middle one of those packages was the most Twitter book I have received all year, and as you could probably predict, it provoked a long rant, a rant that just seemed to build on itself like some sort of weird rhetorical nuclear fusion until I came to my senses, and it was 45 minutes later, and I did not upload that video. I know a lot of you are going to say, "No, we want to see the we want to see the rant," but no, it would have been just the same sort of stuff that you have seen many times this year. The infiltration of identitarian, stupid Twitter politics into books, as though I don't want to start the rant all over again. But the minute I watched the video, I thought, no, you can't upload that on Christmas Eve. You're going to bore them on Christmas Eve. No, you can't do that. And I was a little bit sad because I thought, well, that's it. I mean, there's not going to be any mail on Christmas Day. There won't be any mail on the day after Christmas because in America that's a Sunday. And there won't be any mail on the following Monday because the Postal Union will almost certainly take that day off because Christmas Day fell on a weekday. I don't expect any mail for quite some time, and so I thought, well, we'll go without then. We'll find other things to do. I'll make fun of Criminali or something, or Brandon's Bookshelf. I'll just pick on somebody for half an hour on some day. But there was Ninja Mail last night. All year long, we have seen that the driver who gets the short end of the stick for some sort of shift, ordinarily it'll be someone new. They won't follow the same routine as my usual drivers, and so they will drop off packages to me late at night, 8:39 at night, long after I have stopped checking, long after anyone has stopped checking, and that happened again. Only this time, I think I'm within my bounds to say that the Ninja driver was Santa. I'm going with that, whether it's true or not. And it wasn't just a couple of packages. It's a lot of packages. So I think I'm the beneficiary of two things here. One, Santa, or a ninja driver who got the Christmas Eve shift because the older, more established drivers didn't want it, and so got to me last. And also, second, book publicists wanting to clear stuff off their docket before they leave the office for a week or 10 days. That's all I'm getting in my inbox is one email after another from publicists saying, hey, I just want to know if you want to be interested in this particular book before I leave for 10 days. That's good. Great. Rub my nose in it. Why don't you? So there's quite a few packages. Almost an old style mail haul here. Almost. So let's go through these and see what we have. We'll end with a couple of boxes, one of which is immensely heavy, and it can't be a single book. There is no single book with a finished copy within range of me that would weigh as much as the big box at the end. So, oh no, this first one is from one of you. I can tell because of the elaborate packing job. There's always publishers are sending things out every minute of every day, so they don't overpack things, whereas ordinary civilians do. Ordinary civilians very much overpack things. So what? Did one of you send me something? One of you send me a gift? Yes. Yes, one of you sent me a gift. One of you sent me 2 comics. Is there a note? Is there a note? I tell you people are so amazing. One of you sent me a present with a note saying something about these comics just said Steve. We have, these are new DC comics that one of you sent me. We have Robins #2. Robins is a new series from DC starring all of the young men who have at one point or another been Robin to Batman. I guess all making a team of their own and having adventures. So this is the cover for issue #2. I'm assuming from the little swath of white hair there that this is supposed to be Jason Todd, all grown up. I don't know. We shall see. And then the other issue that somebody sent me is Nightwing 87, which is written by Tom Taylor. Uh, oh my! Oh goodness gracious! Uh, it's the artwork is by Bruno Redondo, and it's done in serialized form. Oh, wait till you see this! Incredible. It is the new issue of Nightwing number 87. And that is the cover. So before I even open another package, I've got something for the gays. That is Nightwing, who was Dick Grayson. He was the original Robin. And this cover, which is, I should give it credit since I'm going to be paying attention to it, the cover is by Jamal Campbell, who I would like to buy a meal. And this cover shows Dick Grayson topless in spandex pants, asleep at dawn with his dog on top of him. And he is smiling in his sleep on his pillow. And that is worth the price of admission right there. But it turns out the artwork on the inside is serialized. So each page has no panels. Instead, you follow it from left to right. You follow the action from left to right. Someone is shooting at Dick Grayson. He runs down the stairs into an alley, changes into Nightwing, and climbs up the building. See, so you follow the action like that, but it's all one page, which allows, oh, incredible. There is Nightwing headed for his apartment. And it allows the artist to get in a huge amount of detail that would go missing if you were doing this panel by panel. Instead, it's one continuous spread of action. Oh, amazing. There's Nightwing making it to his apartment and attacking the men inside. Look, that's just amazing. That's just amazing. Is it as amazing as this cover? Oh, I don't know. I swear, you people, you crack me up. All right, so this next one, it's going to be a tough act to follow. This next one is also, oh, good lord, just packaged up to the moon and back. No idea why, unless this is also from one of you. That would be wild. To be actually getting Christmas presents on Christmas Day would be amazing. Even if they are a little cheeky. No pun intended. Oh my god, is this another present from one of you? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh my. Oh my. Okay, the same person. This is something about this struck me as a Steve comic. What have we got here? Okay. All right. Well, this is we have Robin's number 2. Robin's number 2 has Jason Todd on the cover, all grown up, fresh from the gym. And this is Robin's number 1, which has Dick Grayson on the cover. He seems to be sitting in the corner of a boxing ring. He has a 16-pack abs, but that is not the look of someone who has boxing on his mind. He is definitely inviting you to trap him in his corner, but maybe not for uppercuts. So this will be the first issue of Robin's. Okay. All right. Okay. So there you go. 3 new-ish comics. Robin's number 1, Robin's number 2, and Nightwing number 87. All of which have one thing in common, which is gay pornography on the cover. Which is going to make me think. It's going to make me ask, why would the powers that be at DC Comics greenlight these covers? One would be one thing. If Jamal Campbell just had a great idea, and that is a great picture. its aesthetic leanings notwithstanding, it's a terrific picture. It's not a comic book cover, but it's a terrific picture. But these two, uh, this is this is this is something completely different. This is aimed at a demographic, and it makes me wonder, if you've got three, then it's not a coincidence. And so it makes me wonder why it's happening. And one possible suggestion that comes to mind is that the powers that be at DC Comics has been infiltrated in the exact same way that Marvel Comics has by really, really spiteful, left-leaning, parlor socialist, Twitter, blue hair activist people who very much don't care about comic books. They very much don't care about the characters they've been entrusted with. They only care about scoring points. They score about racking up heads on walls. If you have an ultra testosterone, white male character, we're not just going to take control of that character, we're going to degrade and change that character. So if we don't like the fact that cops in this country use the Punisher logo, we will infiltrate the comic book and change the logo. If we don't like the fact that the most powerful character in the Marvel Universe is Thor, the God of Thunder, a very stereotypical, gigantic white guy, then we will not just transfer his name, Thor, as if it were a title, and all of his powers to a woman, but we'll also degrade him, lop off a limb, make him an alcoholic, make him fat, make him a louse, that sort of thing. We'll make him unworthy, in addition to stripping him of every single thing. And right on down the line, just right on down the line with every I watched it happen in Marvel Comics, and then I watched it move over to DC Comics. Right to the heart of my own love for DC Comics, to Superman, to the Superman franchise. These people, these activists, have made no secret of the fact that the number one superhero of all time is a straight white man means that figure, Superman, is their number one target, not just to degrade and replace. They've already replaced him with his gay teenage son, but to kill, to get rid of. In his case, they want the actual head on the wall. And fortunately, or unfortunately, they have the full cooperation of DC Comics' legal arm, who would rather kill off Kal-El, the last son of Krypton, than keep paying the Siegel and Schuster families for the use of the character, or even being shamed by them by not paying them enough. It could be one possible explanation for this kind of cover would be that cabal of blue-haired Twitter addicts is saying, what kinds of cover can we make that will make the mostly middle-aged, mostly white, mostly heterosexual readers of these comics incredibly uncomfortable to buy? What kind of a comic can we make that will really make them squirm? Because these creators have made no secret over the last 5 years of the fact that they personally hate the people who read their books. They personally hate their readers. They're on a mission to either get those readers out of comics or change those readers right down to what they say in the confessional on Sunday. Change their personalities. They've said this openly on social media, that we want our readers to change, or we want different readers. This is one of the reasons why comics are failing so incredibly, incredibly badly. Why the best-selling comics, superhero comics from Marvel or DC on the market right now, week by week, aren't coming anywhere near to the level that would once have been low enough to provoke cancellation. So there are no success stories anymore, and this could either covers like this are a nod from DC to the very substantial and healthy gay readership of especially Nightwing, but also all of the other Bat comics, but especially Nightwing. It could be either it's that, or it's those same people snickering to themselves in private Facebook groups saying, what can we do to make these guys really squirm? Because we hate them. We rely on them completely. The fringe groups that sloganeer on Twitter do not buy comics. You rely on these men completely, and you hate them for that. It could be either one of those. It could be both of those. But in either case, whatever the reason, I'm incredibly happy to have these issues. Thank you kindly. But I don't think all of these are going to be comic books. There's no way. Uh, and I did manage to get in a rant there anyway, didn't I? Well, it's Christmas. Let's see what this next. Okay, this next one is a book. Thank God. Oh, great. Oh, not only is it a book, it's a book by an author I love. This is Authority and Freedom, A Defense of the Arts by the great art critic Jed Pearl. Fantastic. He just recently did an absolutely authoritative 2-volume biography of the complete artistic fraud Calder. A complete fraud, a complete pompous fraud, who did trinkets, chairs you can't sit on, tables you can't use, and also mobiles. He did lots and lots of mobiles. You wouldn't look at one twice if you saw it at a yard sale. But given the right ad cover, the right ad copy in the right museum, you will be told that if you wanted to own the objet that you're standing in front of, you would need to pony up $17 million. It's good. Calder was completely talentless, but he's still a major public figure, and Jed Pearl did a biography of him, the like of which we'll never see. And this is Authority and Freedom. Okay, so it has the feel of a manifesto to it. It's a little thing, too. You can't really tell on camera, but it's a smaller hardcover. Let's see here. What have we got? This is going to be $20. I don't have a sheet on it, so it might be out already. From one of our most widely admired art critics comes a bold and timely manifesto. Yes, okay, so this is a manifesto reaffirming the independence of all the arts, musical, literary, and visual, and their unique and unparalleled power to excite, disturb, and inspire us. Okay, but they're not allowed to do any of those things anymore. So I don't know what he's going to say with risk of being canceled. They're not allowed to especially disturb. Art is not allowed to disturb you anymore. Art has, in the 21st century, art has only one purpose only, and that is to hold up an extremely flattering mirror to you specifically. You specifically. But let's see. If anybody has the right to opine on art, it's Jed Pearl. As people look to the arts to promote a particular ideology, whether radical, liberal, or conservative, okay, well, I don't want to get all David Murphy on you, but radical, liberal, and conservative are not three different things. Right now, liberal and conservative in America, anyway, are both intensely, insanely radical. But anyway, Jed Pearl argues that the arts have their own laws and logic, which transcend the controversies of any one moment. Art's relevance, he writes, has everything to do with what many regard as its irrelevance. This book will find readers from college classrooms to foundation board meetings, wherever the arts are confronting social, political, and economic ferment and heated debates about political correctness and cancel culture. It's a lost battle. The people who simultaneously say that cancel culture doesn't exist and also engage in it 24 hours a day, they take shifts because they all live together because they can't afford rent, don't read. Those people don't read anything at all except Twitter. But if they ever find out about a book that's claiming to take aim at cancel culture, they will certainly cancel the author. The author here embraces the work of creative spirits as varied as Mozart, Michelangelo, Jane Austen, Henry James, Picasso, and Aretha Franklin. He contends that the essence of the arts is their ability to free us from the fixed definitions and categories. Art is inherently uncategorizable. That's the key to its importance. Pearl defends works of art as adventuresome dialogues, simultaneously dispassionate and impassioned. He describes the fundamental sense of vocation, the engagement with the tools and traditions of the medium that gives artists their purpose and focus. Whether we're experiencing a poem, a painting, or an opera, it's the interplay between authority and freedom, what Pearl calls the lifeblood of the arts, that fuels the imaginative experience. This book will be essential reading for anyone who cares about the future of the arts in a democratic society. Okay. All right. Well, like I said, if anybody has earned the right to make a manifesto about the arts, it's Jed Pearl. This is not going to be in a democratic society for very long. This is certainly not going to close out the decade as a democratic society. So I hope this book doesn't buy him more trouble than he expects. But I will gladly read it as soon as I know when it's out. If it's a 2021 release, I'll gladly read it. Boy, aren't we off to a contentious start? How about if this next one is a cozy murder mystery in which a little old lady solves crimes? That would be really nice. Can we manage that instead of Steve arguing with every book? What is this next one? Oh, okay. This is a March release. This comes out on March the 15th. So I won't be reading it, but maybe I also won't be arguing with it. We shall see. What is this? This is The Brain in Search of Itself. Santiago Ramon y Cajal and the Story of the Neuron by Benjamin Ehrlich. Science writing, seems like. I'm excited to share that on March 15th, 2022, FSG will publish the first comprehensive English language biography of Nobel Prize-winning Spanish scientist whom many consider to be the father of modern neuroscience, Santiago Ramon y Cajal. While not as widely known as some other 19th century scientists, think Darwin or Pasteur. Yeah, he's not as well known as Darwin. Okay. Is it Cajal or Cajal? I have no idea. Has left the same kind of mark on his field. And in this book, biographer Benjamin Ehrlich presents a vivid portrait of his colorful, often surprising life. Ehrlich seamlessly weaves together stories of Cajal's scientific progress and his personal life, from his birth in 1852 in northern Spain, through his path-breaking career to his death in 1930s Madrid, while also presenting a rich picture of life and politics in 19th and early 20th century Spain, and giving full due to his subject's many facets. As you may know, today, Cajal is celebrated almost as much for his beautiful artistic renderings of the nervous system, which have been exhibited widely in recent years, as he is for his outsized impact on the history of neuroscience. Okay, I have never read a biography of this person, and know virtually nothing about him. I'm sure he's occurred as a note in other books that I've read on other people. But this is going to be one huge learning experience, which is wonderful. The Brain in Search of Itself. Okay, so a biography and a life and times of Santiago Ramon y Cajal. Ramon y Cajal, the father of modern-day neuroscience. Boy, I love my job. I never know what's coming. We are working our way towards the boxes. But one present that I don't think you're going to get this Christmas is a short video from me. I don't think that's going to happen. Let's see what this next one is. Okay, this is a finished copy of something that we've already seen. I'm surprised that isn't happening more often. But a lot of times these days, publishers aren't sending out finished copies unless you specifically request them. And I don't often get around to doing that. So I'm glad to see this one. This comes out in mid-January, and we've already seen it. This is Fear of Black Consciousness by Lewis Gordon. Let's see here. What have we got? Lewis Gordon's writings on black existentialism and anti-blackness have been hugely influential among academics and activists over the last 30 years. This is Gordon's first book written for general readership, and it has the vividness and immediacy he brings to fundamental philosophical questions about race that remain little explored among the public at large, a talent that has made him a popular teacher at the University of Connecticut. This is Gordon's first book for a general readership, a lively journey through the development of racialized blackness that illustrates philosophical and conceptual insights with discussions of current events, such as COVID-19, the Capitol riot, the George Floyd protests, as well as pop culture, Jordan Peele's Get Out, Marvel's Black Panther, politics, linguistics, cultural history, and memoir. The result is a wide-ranging exploration of racial consciousness in the mode of Frantz Fanon, that drills below journalism, punditry, and rhetoric to race's conceptual bedrock, exposing the fallacies that inform much of America's discourse on race on both sides of the political spectrum. Okay. Well, this comes out in mid-January. I have the advanced copy of this. Of course, I haven't looked at it because it's a January release. I would ordinarily be feeling the same way as I did towards the father of neuroscience. I'd be thinking, boy, I'm going to learn a lot. This is an established, experienced teacher who's been writing in academic circles about issues of race and race consciousness for decades. So I'm going to learn a lot from this book. And I probably still will. I have a knee-jerk reaction that is probably unfair to the author, because in 2021 I saw an interview that was given by a tenure-track professor at Rutgers University in which she spouted genocidal racism. She, of course, got no resistance at all from her interviewer, but she also got precious little resistance from anybody else. She was defended as much as she was excoriated on Twitter. And the last time I checked, Rutgers had not fired her for advocating, for saying that all white people need to be wiped out. So now, naturally, when I get a book like this, instead of thinking about the author's bona fides and their experience in teaching this subject, instead I'm wondering, okay, am I going to open this book and see more calls for white genocide that are just going to get overlooked by the reviewers of this book? Well, you know. Am I going to open this book and have another tenure-track academic going on and on about how white people are possessed, all white people, even the babies, are possessed by an evil spirit when it comes to their thirst for power, or something nonsensically racist like that. Now I don't know, and that's unfair on my part. I should not be painting everybody with the brush of that one racist Rutgers professor. Instead, I should be thinking, you know, everybody's different. But the reason why that one racist Rutgers professor bothers me so much is because I have seen that note of just openly expressed genocidal racism many times over the course of 2020 and 2021 from American academics. One of them, I think it was in early 2021, went on Twitter and openly said, yeah, if I have white men in my class, I don't call on them unless I have no choice. Unless I can't call on anyone else, I will not call on them. I automatically think less of them. The person didn't say it, but how is it avoidable? I will automatically grade them worse. 1940s style racism, only with the races swapped. But exactly the same dialogue, exactly the same confessions, exactly the same admissions that some forward-thinking or repentant academics made in the 1950s, saying, well, when my classrooms were integrated, if I had, back then they would have said a colored student, now we say a student of color, these progressive professors looking back and regretting their own racism, which they grew out of, would say, well, yeah, it used to be that, I wouldn't call on a black student unless I absolutely had no choice. And even when I did, I was immediately discounting what they had to say and sort of tacitly encouraging the rest of the class to do the same. Now you get to 2021, you have academics confessing to the exact same thing on Twitter, only the races have been swapped. Now they're saying that about white boys. I'm not going to call on a white boy. A white boy has nothing interesting to say. I'm going to mock white boys in class and encourage the rest of the students in the class to laugh at my jokes at the expense of the skin color of some of the students in the room. So now that I know that openly expressed 1930s style Klan level racism is not only acceptable in academia, in American academia, but probably a job requirement, I'm going at these things on a lot more eggshells. And that's not fair, because every writer is themselves. Every writer is an island unto themselves. So I will give this a try and we will see. But we didn't escape from Steve tirades, now did we? So let's just keep going. Sooner or later, we're going to get that little old lady who solves crimes in her spare time. And I won't have anything to say about that, will I? I mean, I won't rant about such a thing, will I? I don't think so. What a Christmas Day video this is. So let's see what this next one is, and we'll hope for the best. All right. Okay, thank God. We have an epic fantasy. Okay, so this comes out in mid-January as well. This is the finished copy of Gods and Dragons by Kevin Anderson. Thank God. Okay, so this is Wake the Dragon, Book 3. I know that this having a weapon right in the middle of the cover is a motif that runs throughout these books, but this cover would have benefited without it. Right here, it obscures a pretty neat cover. But what have we got here? This presents two continents at war. The Three Kingdoms and Ishara have been in conflict for 1,000 years. But when an outside threat arises, a reawakening of a powerful ancient race that wants to remake the world, the two warring nations must somehow set aside generations of hatred to form an alliance against a far more deadly enemy. And this is book 3. Okay, so you're not going to tell me. You're going to be coy. But what are the other books? Okay, you're not going to tell me either. Is that right? Venge War was one, and I believe Spine of the Dragon was the first book in this series. I think that's how it goes. Spine of the Dragon, then Venge War, and then this. And this author will be familiar to a lot of you because he has been a collaborator with Brian Herbert to write an endless stream of Dune knockoff novels that I wish they weren't doing. I wish those novels didn't exist. But there's an endless stream of them, and Kevin J. Anderson has been a big part of that. So you might know his name from those. But he writes fantasy on his own. And I think I read the first book in this series. What did we say it was? Pub sheet is singularly unhelpful. Spine of the Dragon. I think I read that and liked it. I'm not sure that I read or have Venge War. I'll have to check and see. But this comes out in the middle of January, so there's time yet to catch up. And now at last we have reached the boxes. One little and one big. One that would ordinarily be the pinnacle of a book haul, and one that's 3 times as heavy. So I'm assuming that the bigger box has multiple books because there are no whopper books that I'm waiting for. Okay, present company accepted. There are no whopper books I'm waiting for except this one. Oh, all right. This comes out in late January. This is by Barbara Stolberg-Rillinger, and it is translated by Robert Savage, and it is Maria Theresa, the Habsburg Empress in her time. Whomp! Look at that, will you? This is a 1,200-page biography of Maria Theresa of the Habsburg Empire. Maria Theresa was born in 1717 and died in 1780. Was once the most powerful woman in Europe. At the age of 23, she ascended to the throne of the Habsburg Empire, a far-flung realm composed of diverse ethnicities and languages, beset on all sides by enemies and rivals. In this major new biography, The Iconic Austrian Empress, the author provides the definitive biography of Maria Theresa, situating this exceptional empress within her time while dispelling the myths surrounding her. One of the most powerful women in Europe. Why would the pub sheet say that? Why wouldn't you just give it to her? Is it Catherine the Great that you're thinking of? Catherine the Great, I mean, a million people she could put in the field, but not with weapons, and not with shoes. Why wouldn't you just give it to her? Who else are you thinking of for the 19th century, if not Maria Theresa? It has to be Catherine the Great. Anyway, I'll find out. Believe you me, there won't be anything I don't know about this book in very little time. In this book, the author draws on a wealth of archival evidence, examining all facets of 18th century society, from piety and patronage to sexuality and childcare, ceremonial life at court, diplomacy, and the everyday indignities of warfare. She challenges the idealized image of Maria Theresa as an enlightened reformer and mother of her lands who embodied both feminine beauty and virile bellicosity, showing how she despised the ideas of the Enlightenment, treated her children with relentless austerity, and mercilessly persecuted Protestants and Jews. Work, consistent physical and mental discipline, and fear of God were the principles Maria Theresa lived by, and she demanded the same from her family, her court, and her subjects. A panoramic work of scholarship that brings Europe's age of empire spectacularly to life, this book paints an unforgettable portrait of an uncompromising yet singularly charismatic woman who left her enduring mark on the era in which she lived and reigned. Okay. All right. Well, this author also did from Princeton University Press, History of the Holy Roman Empire that you may remember. We saw it on this channel years ago. And here, for mid-January, she has what is certainly going to be the century's definitive biography of Maria Theresa, who is a very complex and endlessly fascinating character. And I, of course, would be happy about this anyway, but I'm extra happy because I'm actually commissioned to review this. Believe it or not, I found an editor, my beloved editor at the Christian Science Monitor, who was willing to commission a review of a Habsburg book from Steve, even though the book is 1,200 pages long. I'm going to have a ball. I'm going to have a ball doing it. It's not every day that an editor will allow me to write about the Habsburgs, although I have written enormously about them on my own hook. And then we have the box, which is immensely heavy, but now I'm reluctant to say that it can't just be one huge book, because I wasn't expecting the Empress so early. So this could just be one huge book. We'll find out together. That's what these mail hauls are all about, right? They're all about, oh my God, it is one huge book. Oh my God, what on earth is this? This finishes out the mail haul, whatever it is. What have we got here? Oh my God. Okay. All right. This comes out at the end of January. What was I just saying? I was just saying maybe I am an editions guy. Maybe I'm waiting for good editions of things. This is an edition of a classic. This is an illustrated edition of James Joyce's Ulysses. There's the author on the cover. Let's get this off so you can see this clear as bell. This is obviously an oversized, illustrated edition of James Joyce's Ulysses. So that is the front cover. And there is the back cover. And if we take the dust jacket off, we have just a completely bland hardcover. So no actual cover art. The dust jacket art is, I presume, by the same interior artist. So we'll find out all about this. This is a big, oversized, new illustrated edition of James Joyce's Ulysses. So that's what it's going to look like. It's from Other Press, and it will set you back $75 in the bookstore. So what have we got here? It's illustrated by Eduardo Arroyo. And what are you going to tell me about this? This is not to be confused with Steve Donahue's Ulysses. That's right. This book is always called James Joyce's Ulysses. And as a snarky rejoinder to that, when I wrote my novel version of the Odyssey, of the story of Ulysses, I called it Steve Donahue's Ulysses. This is the original. This coming January commemorates the centennial of the first edition of Ulysses. Timed to the 100th anniversary of its publication comes a very special illustrated edition of Leopold Bloom's adventures. This artist died in 2018. Here, readers are offered a fresh reimagining of the classic work of Joyce, vividly brought to life in 300 images created by Eduardo Arroyo. The roots of this project trace back to Arroyo, regarded today as one of the greatest Spanish painters of his generation. A Spanish theme running throughout the books today. Who, inspired by the knowledge that Joyce himself relied heavily on Matisse, dreamed of illustrating Joyce's Ulysses. Although he began work on the project in the 90s, until just before his death in 2018, it was never published during his lifetime. Now available for the first time in English, this unique edition of the classic novel, which the artist dedicated the final 10 years of his life to, laces hundreds of vibrant, eclectic drawings, paintings, and collages, all working in concert to amplify the energy of Joyce's writing. I'm pretty excited about this, but I know there are Joyce fans out there who are much more excited about this than I am. I know there are. Set over the course of a single day in Dublin, James Joyce's masterwork remains of significant importance for countless writers and readers. Though daunting in difficulty for its content and sheer length, painter and graphic artist Eduardo Arroyo is not known for his content and sheer length, but it's a dangler. The artist has managed the ambitious feat of layering Ulysses with hundreds of illustrations, offering a singular interpretation of the characters, places, objects essential to the narrative. Good Lord. Okay. So the artist was born in Madrid in 1937. He's a painter, graphic artist, author, and set designer. In 1982, he received Spain's National Award for Plastic Arts. His paintings are showcased at the Museo de Arte Contemporáneo in Madrid, and he died in 2018. Well, okay, I don't at the moment have a physical copy of James Joyce's Ulysses. I don't, and maybe now I do. Maybe I have a $75 hardcover. So I know you're going to want to see some of these, right? Well, I'll show you a couple of these. There's one. Those of you who know the book will know exactly what moment that is. Okay, and then we have some full color. So you notice, you can see here the drastic differences. There'll be black and white. There'll be color. There'll be let's do one more here. Color, conceptual art. So and a nice big thick thing. It's got the built-in cloth bookmark, heavy duty binding, heavy quality paper. This is the sort of thing to just set on top of you and read James Joyce's Ulysses at leisure with illustrations throughout. So not 100%, but this doesn't come out until late January. I'm not 100% sure who this would be for. This is obviously not, for instance, in the UK, Penguin Contemporary Classics, Modern Classics, does a paperback of James Joyce's Ulysses. Penguin Classics does a paperback of James Joyce's Ulysses that is, to put it mildly, more compact and portable than this thing. And then there are very, very elaborate annotated editions, and then there's something like this. I don't think this has any annotations. Yeah, this doesn't have any annotations. This is just the text and all of the pictures. So this falls somewhere in between. I know that this will be of interest to Joyceana collectors. Of course, they're going to want this thing because it's so beautiful. It's such a lovely production. As to anybody else, as to who else would want it, I'm not sure if this would go to a first-time Joyce reader. This would probably be for fans. This book has a lot of fans, and maybe this will make me a fan. Wow, what a way, though. What a Christmas Day mail haul. So we're going to wrap this up before this goes on to 2 hours. So we'll do a Steve Pyramid. We have an illustrated edition of James Joyce's Ulysses, oversized and illustrated. We have a 1,300-page biography of the endlessly fascinating Maria Theresa. We have Gods and Dragons by Kevin J. Anderson, the third volume in a fantasy series. I have to check and see if I have the other volumes. We have Fear of Black Consciousness by Lewis Gordon, his first popular audience book, distilling probably years and years of teaching on the subject. We have The Brain in Search of Itself, a life and times of the founding father of modern-day neuroscience. We have Authority and Freedom by Jed Pearl. As a fan of Jed Pearl's writing, I'm interested in this anyway, even if manifestos I tend to argue with them more than agree with them. And finally, 3 comic books for the gays. We have, I'll do these in ascending order of appeal, Robin's number 1, Robin's number 2, and finally, Nightwing 87. A boy and his dog. So that is your Christmas Day mail haul. Good Lord, Santa delivered. So I'm going to wrap this up. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, several rants ago, we aren't going to get any mail on Sunday. And I would bet we won't get any mail on Monday. But I'll find other things to talk to you about. I will see you then. Thank you, BookTube.